to vote no on all 16 closures and come back to the drawing table with us.
Parents and students getting one more chance to try to keep schools open in Jefferson County. The push for a new plan as 16 schools are on the chopping block. Questions and pushback over the search for Aurora's next police chief. The obstacles officials are meeting to talk about for an already troubled department. And cooler weather is headed our way, and it might just be time to turn on your heat. But higher energy bills are coming this season. How much more you'll be paying? Thanks so much for joining us here for Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Jason Grenauer. Parents and students will get another chance to make their case on why the Jefferson County School District should keep over a dozen schools open. Denver 7's Brandon Richard has more on the push, wanting the district to come up with a brand new plan.
Well, Jeffco leaders have scheduled 2 meetings for tonight, including one here at Mulham Elementary. Now, district leaders say the meetings tonight will give families from those consolidating schools an opportunity to get to know each other, to build community. They say tonight's meeting's not really the venue to debate the school closures. There will be an opportunity for that later. Now, in the last few weeks, we've shown you how some families are very upset about these schools closing and consolidating. Some arguing it will disproportionately impact minority students. And now Wheat Ridge city leaders joining them in opposing the closings. 3 of the schools slated to close are in Wheat Ridge. In a resolution last night, they urged the school board to vote no, and they want the district to come back with another plan. But district leaders say the closures are necessary due to declining enrollment. And they say at some schools there's only enough students to fill just 1 classroom per grade. And they say small schools lack resources like funding.
Our enrollment is just in a place where it continues to decline, and as we look to the future and the resources that we want to provide in our schools, consolidating, closing some schools was really the only way that we can get there.
Now, 2 meetings, what the district is calling community conversations, are scheduled for tonight. One at Peck Elementary School starting at 5, another at Mulham Elementary starting at 6. About a dozen more of these meetings are scheduled throughout the month of October. And district leaders say in late October and into early November, they're going to be holding public hearings, several public hearings. And those meetings will be the opportunity for parents and community members to sound off how they feel about these school closures ahead of that board vote November 10th. Reporting in Lakewood, Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
Now, we reached out to the Jeffco Teachers Union to get their thoughts on all this. The president told Denver 7 morning anchor Nicole Brady employees are grieving these closures.
It's hard, and that's what we're hearing. But I think there's also an understanding that it's necessary. We haven't been able to give our students and our communities the education that they deserve.
On to stress that parents may think that smaller schools mean smaller classes, but it often means there isn't money for a teacher for every grade, or a full-time librarian or a full-time arts teacher, for example. The board will make the final decision about those closures at its meeting on November 10th. Turning to the weather now, we are drying out this morning after some rain moved through our area overnight. And exactly when I was trying to take the dogs out for a walk last night, here's a live look from our Lookout Mountain Cam. Looking for a little more sunshine this afternoon. Denver 7's Katie LaSalle joins us now. Katie, will I be in the clear this afternoon?
Well, if you are outside later on tonight walking the doggos around, you do have the possibility of seeing a few sprinkles here and there, but it will be a drier day than what we experienced yesterday. This morning, though, it's been a lot of sunshine, beautiful conditions from the mountains to the plains. A live look over Winter Park. Just some high fluffy clouds out there. Temperatures nice and cool. We're in the high 40s, low 50s still over Thornton up into Firestone, down into Centennial, with 30s and 40s into many of our mountain towns. So later on this afternoon, Jason, if you're out and about walking the dog, temperature-wise, it'll feel quite comfortable. High 60s for our expected highs until about 5 p.m. 70 degrees in Highlands Ranch with 50s and 60s into the mountains. I'll take you through the full future cast when you can expect to see any rain coming up.
All right, Katie, Tater and Nelson appreciate that. Well, we continue to follow the city of Aurora's search for a new police chief. Finalists were announced. They toured the city, but there's also been some pushback and questions from some in the community over this process. The latest, city leaders met behind closed doors last night. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta has much more on where that selection process is at.
right now, that could all be up in the air. We know the city manager told the Denver Post he plans on touching base with both city and community leaders about what exactly happened during yesterday's closed-door meeting. And all of this comes as the community here in Aurora only grows more frustrated over how long this process has taken and how controversial it's been. Those two finalists, they met with community members during their final interviews last week, and all of the controversy here comes because these two finalists are both white men, and there have been so many calls from the community for Aurora's police department to better reflect the community it serves. It's because of this that Aurora's Police Oversight Task Force now pushing for the city to start the search process all over again. They say the community was shut out of this election process and they want in.
I believe that they can bring community in because community has been very vocal about this, hiring process for the past 6 months. The community is wanting to be a part of those searches. I believe there are ways that we can use the community to get a police chief that will represent the community regardless of nationality or race. If the community chooses them, then we will back them and support them. If the community has no say, we absolutely will not.
So if you're wondering how this election process actually works, we know Aurora's city charter gives that duty to the city manager to go ahead and hire the next police chief, who does have to get a majority approval from city council as well. Right now, we're trying to figure out what exactly happened during yesterday's closed door meeting. We'll bring you any updates as soon as we have them. In Aurora, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Now, other Aurora city leaders will visit San Antonio today to study that city's approach to homelessness. It comes a few weeks after city leaders went to Houston for the same thing. Today's trip will focus on a nonprofit running a large campus with a wide variety of homeless services, all under one roof. They will discuss what they learned from the San Antonio trip at the city council meeting in 2 weeks. Well, rescue efforts continue in Florida as rescue crews are looking for survivors of Hurricane Ian. It's already been nearly 1 week after its devastating landfall there. Tomorrow, President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden will visit the disaster area and pledge their support. ABC's Rena Roy reports from Naples.
Nearly a week after Hurricane Ian made landfall in southwestern Florida, the work continues around the clock. Thousands of people being rescued from destroyed homes and taken to shelters. The death toll still on the rise. Shelley McKinney just moved to Fort Myers with her husband 2.5 weeks ago. Her new home now a pile of mangled metal.
What is going through your mind?
Where do we go from here? We've worked for this our whole lives and we thought we had it.
Their plan was to retire in this community.
Our car's gone. Our home is gone. Everything that we worked for all our lives is gone.
On the small island of Matlacha, just north of Sanibel, Maria Steelman remembering the sheer horror as Ian moved in.
It was 20 hours of just terror. It was terror. It's just pure. We were scared.
Hundreds of thousands still without power.
And at this point, you're not leaving this area, no matter how long it takes to get
Oh, of course not. This
power,
is our
water
home.
back.
We've been here over 50 years.
Officials in Fort Myers Beach say the electrical infrastructure was destroyed and it might be about a month before power is restored. But the hope is to get the lights back on for most across the area by Friday. Rena Roy, ABC News, Fort Myers, Florida.
Now, Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for hurricane relief. You can make a donation by texting STORM to 50155 and following the prompts. You can also scan the QR code right there on your screen or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief. Closer to home, as the weather gets cooler here in Colorado, higher energy bills are coming for many of us. Xcel Energy's gas prices went up over the weekend. Xcel says the reason is the rising cost of natural gas to a 15-year high. The average residential customer should see around a $3 increase per month. Higher rates will remain in place for 3 months. The rate hike comes while thousands of Colorado Xcel customers are also adjusting to the new time of use program.
For me, I can make the changes. But for other people who cannot make the changes, it's not a good idea.
Xcel says peak hours where you pay the most are weekdays between 3 and 7 p.m. Well, the search is on for a bear that attacked a man in his backyard in Newcastle. Colorado Parks and Wildlife says the man shot at the bear but wasn't sure if he ended up hitting the animal. That man was taken to the hospital. This is the area's second bear attack in 2 months. A woman was attacked when a bear came into her backyard at the end of August. Well, taking a closer look, wildlife officials say bear activity typically increases this time of year as they get ready for hibernation. There are some things you can do, though, to stay safe. The city of Boulder says use bear-resistant trash bins. Make sure that they are secure. Remove food wrappers from your cars and keep your car doors locked. They can just open the doors. Don't leave pet food or dishes outside and report any bear sightings. A quick programming note of a football kind. The next Broncos game against the Colts is this Thursday night in prime time right here on Denver 7. Kickoff will be at 6:15. Our pregame coverage starts at 5. Then we'll have a special postgame show after. Again, all of that is right here on Denver 7. Well, former Broncos president Joe Ellis is getting a new job today. Construction worker. Ellis is bringing together 50 executives for the 9th annual CEO Build for Habitat for Humanity. Whether they have home building skills or not, they will be working side by side with future homeowners to create affordable housing.
The importance of having C-level executives out on site is twofold. It means that they are seeing the problem, they're understanding it, and that they're also putting their time, their talent, and their resources to being a part of the solution.
Now, these CEOs are just volunteering today, but Habitat needs volunteers year-round. To get involved, just reach out to your local Habitat for Humanity. The Denver Zoo showing off its newest resident, the new herbivore that's sure to turn heads. Plus, the Colorado musician lending her voice to helping underserved people.